guys, it's Mishel, Deception Bytes, and I am bringing you the latest Q posts. We have had a ton of posts today. I mean, a ton. And we've got a lot to go over. And we still have some left over from yesterday, last night. I was thinking that I might come back last night and do a video on the few that I missed, but I was tired and I was yawning too much. And, you know, who wants to listen to that? No one. So, I'm going to go over those now, and I'm going to have to break this into two tonight because I've got an errand to run in the middle. So it'll take me about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll come back, and while this is uploading and you're watching the first one, I will be doing the second one, and we'll upload it tonight as well. So let's get started. Now, this is the first one that I missed from yesterday, and Q says, is referring to this Anon who wrote, coincidence that the vote.co site just went down 2 days ago after 2 years of the deepest pizza pedigate research on the World Wide Web. Lots of important archives lost. And Q responds to this. Let me make this a little bit bigger because I know that it's hard for you guys that are on phones. So Q responds and says, over the target. So, yep, you're over the target. And then he said, expand further. So I think what he's saying here is he wants us to expand further, but he's going to expand it further as well. And that's what he does for us. He says, Wendy. Now, because he says Hussein right underneath, I know who he's referring to, and he's referring to the little girl that he was in that picture with, that was a black and white picture that we looked at yesterday, and her name is Maggie. It's not Nix, it's Nixon. It's Maggie Nixon, and she also goes by Wendy, which is a pet name. So, Wendy, Maggie Nixon, aka Wendy, Hussein, and then Mac, and that's Allison Mack, who's the young lady that was just arrested for sex trafficking and is connected to the NXIVM cult. And then Adam Schiff, and we know that all ties in with the Standard Hotel and what went down there and the helicopter crash. And then we have another person that's about to be thrown into the mix right out of the blue here. And we don't know yet where she fits in. At least I haven't figured it out. Maybe somebody else has, but I certainly have not. And this is West Hollywood's Mariah Sunshine Coogan, identified as victim of Scottsdale plane crash. Interesting. And when you go into this and read it all, which I'm not going to, it says that the pilot that was driving didn't even have a license, which is very odd, if you ask me. And she is basically a Instagram celebrity, they said. But I thought it was a little odd because they say she's a Instagram celebrity, and when you go to her Instagram, there's all sorts of pictures in various states of dress and undress, and there's no children, but it's of her and her friends. And what I noticed was that they're very wealthy. They're very wealthy. Like, she's living a very wealthy life. So I don't know who she is or who she's connected to, but they say she's an Instagram celebrity because she's got 31,000 followers. Well, I don't think that makes you a celebrity. I mean, I've got somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 35,000 subscribers. I don't consider myself a celebrity by any stretch of the imagination. So I just don't know why they would, I don't know. But it was evident from me just by, the looks of her. You can tell when somebody has the money to maintain a certain look. And just the clothes, everything. You can tell when someone is high maintenance and spending a great deal of money on their appearance. And there's nothing wrong with that if you have it. But I don't know where she fits into the grand scheme of this, except that her and her friends didn't recognize any of the names of her friends. In fact, she was the first one identified. There's another friend mentioned here that is also a so-called Instagram celebrity, and the pilot was a male, I believe, but I don't know. There's nothing here that screams out to me, that no bells going off and thinking, oh, she might be connected to this. But she is connected in some way, and it's connected in this way of trafficking, sex trafficking, pedophilia, whatever, because she's lumped in with all those other people. So I guess we'll find out at some point. But my guess is the plane crash wasn't an accident. That's my guess. And they're blaming it, saying it's pilot error because the pilot didn't have a license. But one doesn't know, does one? All right. So let's go on to the next one. Now, Q is referring to the post that he just made, and he's saying this door will be opened later. The choice to know will be yours. End. Q. So it's no surprise that we can't find anything on this person, and it's no surprise that we don't know at this point how all of these people connect together, but we know they do. So Hussein, Wendy, the little girl that he was pictured with, who's no longer a little girl. I think she's 19, maybe 20. I'm not sure. I can't do the math in my head right now, but I think that picture was taken in 2008. I don't know. Anyway, these people are connected somehow. Don't know how, but we know just because of who's involved here that it's, Adam Schiff. We know that he was involved in trafficking of some sort, pedophilia of some sort. Allison Mack most certainly was involved in sex trafficking. Obama, don't know, wouldn't surprise me. I see a lot of pictures of him with that Band-Aid around the finger. Remember Abramovich, and Podesta had the same thing, the Band-Aid on his finger, because they cut their fingers and they sucked the blood, and I don't know, weird, bunch of weirdos. But anyway, Q is telling us that the door will be opened later. So we're going to see. We're going to understand later, but it'll be our choice, of course, whether we really want to know. I want to know, but there's some things that I don't want to know. I think you know exactly what I mean. Okay, so the next thing that Q says is, and who is he? Just trying to quickly see who he's directing this to. 74. Oh, okay. Right here where he says, this door will be opened later. The choice to know will be yours. And Q. Okay, he's referring to that post, and he's responding to his own post by saying, as the world turns, Q. Well, this has been given all new meaning now, because we're going to see in a moment. Of course, As the World Turns was a famous soap opera, and now we're going to get into some interesting things here. Just one second, I got to take a drink. Alrighty. Now, he's responding to this down here, As the World Turns. Now he's going to give us some information. And we're going to go out here. Now, it's going to show this Agnes Nixon, okay? And Agnes Nixon was the creator of All My Children and One Life to Live. Her son is Robert Nixon, who's married to Sarah Guinan Nixon. And, okay, let me go out and do this first, because it's not, I'm throwing all these names at you and you're going, what? Okay. Agnes Nixon, who created the popular soaps One Life to Live and All My Children, dies at 93. Now, this was September 28th, 2016, And so less than 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. And who's this young lady right here? Can I make this bigger? Why, sure I can. All right. Who's this young lady? Does she look familiar? Well, this is Agnes Nixon's granddaughter. And this is her daughter, Mary. And this is Maggie Nixon, granddaughter to Agnes Nixon, who really invented soap operas. She was the creative force behind the popular TV soap operas, One Life to Live and All My Children has died. ABC said that her son and daughter-in-law, Bob and Sarah Nixon, confirmed her death. She died Wednesday in Haverford, Pennsylvania at age 93. Her age, reported elsewhere as 88, was confirmed by her survivors and was included in the death certificate. So, I guess she was 93, but she liked to tell people she was 88, I guess. Nixon created, wrote, and produced the long-running ABC daytime serials. And I thought I read somewhere that she created them, like that she not only created them, but she was the first person to, but I don't know. I thought I read that somewhere. So this is the little girl that Obama was pictured with. And this is her daughter, Mary. Well, there's some confusion here as to whether she's the daughter of Mary, who is Agnes' daughter, or whether she is the daughter of Agnes's son, Bob, and daughter-in-law, Sarah. So I don't know, because there seems to be conflicting information out there on that. She's related anyway. She's the granddaughter of Agnes Nixon. Now, okay, I know, you're saying, what? Well, so what? Okay, well, you know, Q wanted us to know. I'm just telling you. All right, now, Sarah Nixon is married to Robert, her son, who goes by Bob, and she is on Instagram under 3_ring circus. So let's go on. We'll get more information as we go along, because at this point my head was a little spinning. I mean, I went out because today it's sunny, and it's the first day of spring here. Absolutely. It's been snowing and ice and everything here, and all of a sudden it's sunny and warm, and I had to get outside and just whatever. And I thought, oh, I'll do the Q post later. I'll you know, won't take me long to get up to speed. Yeah. It took me a while. So anyway, there's a lot here and all these names. So let's go on. Now, Q is referring to this drop right here that he just made about Agnes Nixon, and he's referring to that quote, and he says, hint, Hussein and Maggie. And then he put in quotation, Wendy. Okay, well, Hussein and Maggie, that was the picture that we saw, right? That was Maggie Nixon, and and okay, Q is about to drop later that Maggie is Wendy. He does it in a roundabout way, but that's her pet name, Wendy. I don't know. It seems like seems strange to me, but apparently, I don't know. Maybe they call her Wendy. Wasn't Wendy in charge of the Lost Boys or something? I don't know. But there's a reason why she's called Wendy. How many pics can you find of them together? Age 10, 11, 12. I couldn't find any. I don't know if the web's been scrubbed or I'm just looking in the wrong spot, but I couldn't. There are a few out there that I saw others found. I didn't grab them, but there's only, I think, 1 or 2 others that I've seen. But it come to find out that her parents own a restaurant where the Obamas frequent, and we're going to find that out later as well. Now, oh, okay, yeah, there's this one as well. It's a different one. All right, and this is posted by Q, and he posts another picture for our viewing pleasure. And let's make this a little bit bigger. And this was on Instagram, and if you'll notice, it was posted by Three Ring Circus, and that is Sarah Nixon's, who is, Bob is the son of Agnes, Bob or Robert, and Sarah is his wife, and I believe that this is their daughter. That's what I believe, but I know that there's several Anons that are convinced that Mary is the mother, so I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut and say that Sarah is her mother. Three Ring Circus, that's the her name on Instagram, so this is coming from her Instagram. And she says, love this shot taken here on North Street just a few weeks before Barack Obama announced. My gal Maggie Nix was just 10 and Obama didn't have a speck of gray. And then she puts the hashtag surreal, yes we can, manifest hope, time flies, making history. And then Ginny Grenham says, love Maggie. So, remember this day, how the Secret Service scared the shit out of me when I went down in the basement to get paper for Bobby homework? And how you and Bob told me this is going to be the next president. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then Three Ring Circus says, nobody believed us. It was a night to remember for sure. Have you seen Yossi's pics on Facebook? Don't know who Yossi is, but interesting. So this wasn't taken at the restaurant that they own. Bob, Robert, and Sarah own a restaurant, but it was taken in their home, so I would assume that she is their daughter, right? Makes sense to me. And it says it was taken on North Street just a few weeks before Obama announced. So what was he doing at their house? They obviously didn't know him well, because it says, so remember this day, how the Secret Service scared the shit out of me when I went down in the basement to get paper for Bobby homework, and how you and Bob told me this is going to be the next president, and I was more like, yeah, sure. Okay, well, maybe they did know him, because they said, well, this guy's going to be the next president, so I guess they did know her, but whoever this is, Ginny Grenham, didn't. So, I don't know. I was just seeing if anything else popped out at me. Now, also remember, as Q is going to remind us, well, this is on Instagram, but Q is going to remind us that these people all go under their own names and under assumed names so that they can, have private accounts. All right. Now, and then, of course, this Anon says, holy crap, he's been diddling her since she was 10. I don't think that that's what's going on here. Maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I don't think that's what's going on there. I could be wrong, but it seems like the parents know Obama, know of him, and I don't know. I guess anything at this point would be speculation. Now, I found this, and it's flat out disturbing. And Maggie Nixon is on Twitter, and somebody tweeted this to her, and she retweeted it. And I think it's disturbing. I really do. I don't see why somebody would retweet this. I don't see why somebody would even send it to somebody. It looks to me, and it could be fake, it may not be blood, but, it's an empty room, and the blinds are all screwed up, So, not that that really means anything, but, and it says, I feel pretty, and it looks like there's blood splatters all over. Now, I don't know. I mean, maybe some of you guys, I don't know. Some of it, I mean, there is a whole science to blood splatters. If there's anybody in forensics here, I worked for the police for a long time ago, but forensics, no. I don't know. This looks like it's been smeared with a hand to me. And some of these look like they were smeared by hands, or else somebody's clothing had it on them and it's a transfer. But this, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Like, even if somebody was fooling around, like, that's not my sense of humor. I would never, if it wasn't real blood and somebody was just, fooling around, first of all, why would you do that? It's in somebody's home, I presume, unless it's in an empty abandoned house somewhere. But even if it was, I don't know. It's sick to me. I think it's very sick. All right, so let's go up to here. And now, Q says, okay, this is an anon that says, why does image search for Maggie Nixon and Obama return an image of Abramovich and DeFranco only? I think we are over the target. And Q says, bigger than you can imagine. POTUS warning shot. Okay, now I'm taking this to mean that this is Trump's warning shot to the cabal, and he's about to give it. He says Mac. Now that's Allison Mack, the one that was just arrested for sex trafficking that was on TV Smallville. Snowball. Now I believe what he's saying is her testimony is going to cause a snowball effect. Because when she starts dropping names, those names are connected to other names, who are connected to other names, and so on, and so on, and so on. Why is Hussein pictured with this Hollywood child many times? I don't know. I don't think we know yet. And I think it's too early for us to surmise, too. I don't think that Hussein is into little girls. But I don't know. What are pet names? Well, pet name is a name you give to somebody you are close to or fond of that is something other than their given name. I have a pet name. Most people that are very, very close to me call me Goo. I know it's a weird name, and I do sort of know where it came from, but it's just what people that are very, very close to me call me. It's don't call me that, please. It's, very, 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 very close friends and family, like my best friends. And it's a strange name, but it's a pet name. And a lot of people that know of me that may not be real close to me, but know me, and if you talk about Goo, they know exactly who you mean, because it's a well-known name for me. So that's what a pet name is. And so, is Wendy a pet name for Maggie Nixon? Well, it appears that it is from what Q has dropped. I would assume that it is. So all this is bigger than we can imagine, and the POTUS is giving a warning shot, and I believe that because he's not talking about Hussein at this time because Hussein is not the president of the United States. Trump is. Thank goodness. So this is Trump's warning shot to the cabal. Allison Mack's testimony is going to have a snowball effect. It's going to snowball. And you know what happens If any of you are from a cold climate and you start a snowball at the top of a hill, it gets freaking huge by the time, if it's packy snow. You know, the snow has to be a certain consistency, and you roll it down and it becomes absolutely massive, and anything in its way is going to get, you know, run over. I mean, those snowballs can get massive. We used to do that when I was a kid. We had so much fun doing that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, let's go on. Oh, and then he says conspiracy, Q. And I think maybe he put conspiracy because that's what they're going to say, of course, because that's how they defend themselves always. Oh, it's a conspiracy. They're making this stuff up. He's so desperate. Trump's so desperate. He's just making this stuff up. Yeah. Just like Pizzagate. You know, we're supposed to think that it doesn't exist, that it's all a conspiracy, that there was nothing strange at all about that pizza shop. Nothing at all. That it's perfectly normal to have bands like Heavy Breathing at a child-friendly venue. It's perfectly normal to tape children down to a ping pong table. That's what we're supposed to believe. All right. Now, this says, look who Maggie's mom is friends with. Well, this isn't Maggie's mom. This is Maggie's aunt. None other than James Alefantis, the pizza man. Well, we had to know pizza was going to come in here somewhere, right? And Q responds and says, you can't imagine the size of this conspiracy risk planned for later. So he's saying there's a risk. I think what he's saying, I could be wrong, but I think he's saying there's a risk of them just labeling this conspiracy. So this is all planned for later. It's going to come out. And here's the picture. There's Alefantis, which actually in French means I love infants. Interesting, isn't it? I'm sure that's only a coincidence. And there is, that would be Maggie Nixon's aunt. Her aunt. That's the sister of her father. Sister of Maggie Nixon's father, Robert, who goes by Bob. That's her sister. So they're all, you know, like peas in a pod. And there's this guy, you know, copping a feel. Anyway, yeah. Then the next one, I have to keep an eye on the time here. Okay, the next one is an Anon posted this, and it's Edward Snowden, and it says, when we look back on today, we will find the most important national security story of the year. Spontaneous organization is the hardest for adversaries to counter. And so this Anon refers to this here. And he says, is at Snowden talking about us? I guess this came from his Twitter page. I'm not sure because that was just posted by itself. Is at Snowden talking about us? And Q responds to this post and says, the world is watching. Q. The world is watching. So I would assume that, yes, in part, that is referring to the 8chan boards, that spontaneous organization is the hardest for adversaries to counter. All right. Now, here we come across another Maggie. So this is where I was getting confused because there's a lot of names here to keep straight. And some of them are similar, like Maggie Nixon and Maggie Haberman, which are not the same person. So we're going to get into who Maggie Haberman is. Now, she, hang on here. Okay, this is the link that it's gonna show us this. Okay, it's in with the Podesta emails, and it's referring to this Maggie Haberman. And hang on here. The Clinton campaign office, wrong or rightly, saw Maggie Haberman as their pet, as this internal email published by WikiLeaks makes clear. For something like this, especially in the absence of us teasing things out to others, we feel that it's important to go with what is safe and what has worked in the past, and to a publication that will reach industry people for recruitment purposes. We have had a very good relationship with Maggie Haberman of Politico over the last year. We have had her tee up stories for us before and have never been disappointed. While we should have a larger conversation in the near future about a broader strategy for re-engaging the beat press that covers Hillary Rodham Clinton, for this we think we can achieve our objective and do the most shaping by going to Maggie. Now, the Clinton campaign, and this was posted by an anon that I grabbed out there. The Clinton campaign office, wrong or rightly, saw Maggie Haberman as their pet. So, Maggie Haberman is a journalist, and we're going to see this right here. Maggie Lindsay Haberman is an American journalist who is a White House correspondent for the New York Times and a political analyst for CNN. She previously worked for Politico and the New York Daily News, where she was a political reporter. That's according to Wikipedia. Now, I don't think it's necessary to go out to this email. It's basically them going through the strategy that they're going to use and who they're going to use to help them to shape the narrative around Hillary Rodham Clinton. And this was before she announced her run for presidency. And now, I think I'm going to break there because, like I said, I have to run an errand and it's time sensitive. So I'm going to break right there. I'm going to upload this and I'm going to come back and do the second half. My errand will only be about 10 minutes maybe. So I will come back and do the rest. But that gives you guys a break too, because I know some of the longer videos, it's hard for people. So that's it for now. I will be definitely back and upload part 2. And again, if you want to be subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all the comments and I learn from them. I'm sure other people do as well. And thank you for all the kind comments you make as well. It means a lot. I'll be back soon. Stay safe.